So I had some questions on helmet setup, specifically a combat helmet. How did I set it up? How did I wear it on combat tours and what have you? And a lot of those questions I'm going to try to answer today with this video. I've got a couple setups here that I run on my helmets, and my buddy Pete here at War Dog Surplus, he's going to help me out. He's got some of the newer, more current stuff, because I'm a little bit old school. I retired 9 years ago, so the helmet I ran then is totally different than the helmet I could be running now or that guys are currently running. Some of these are set up or current setup than what I ran with, and I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about my old helmet, and let's get started. What I got up here is I've got a Ops Corps helmet here, which is what I currently use at work at JSOC. I also have a, don't ask me the name of this company, this is an old ass helmet, and it's kind of a generic helmet. It is ballistic, it's 3A, and it's set up with a modular night vision Wilcox mount, three-hole shroud, and some other stuff. We'll talk about that. And I also have a bump helmet, which I'll use if I don't need ballistic protection. I just want to go lightweight, like maybe patrolling at night or something like that. Now, the helmet I ran when I was an operator, when I started, was a Mitch helmet, which is a ballistic helmet. You don't have any Mitches, do you?
I do.
So he's going to grab a Mitch, and I'll show you guys that and see what it looks like. Well, basically, I ran a Mitch with a night vision mount for the old PVS 23s, I think they were, the flight goggles, pilot's goggles, with the plastic mount that was modular. The goggles snapped in and out. And also had a remote external battery pack if necessary. Even though the night vision goggles, you could put their own batteries in there. But you had an extended 4-battery pack, which actually is the pack on this one for extended use. So batteries didn't go dead on 23s, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe, yes.
PVS 23s. Guys, you know I'm not a nomenclature guy. I've stated that many times. I apologize. Flight goggles, or pilot's goggles, we call them. But this is what I ran with, pretty much. Minus, I actually had a Velcro little Surefire light that I'd slam on there. But this is it. External 4-cell battery pack. There's the Mitch padding system that I ran. You can kind of customize it. You can remove them. They're Velcroed in. And the 4-point adjustable chin strap with the little head fastening or head strap in the back of it, which is pretty good. Yeah, that's it right there. That's what I had in the beginning. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
That was a really massive helmet. It was a 2-piece system. It was ballistic. My opinion on that helmet was, it was massive. It was huge. It wasn't super heavy, but I have a big melon, and like these helmets are XX. And it's just kind of the nature of the beast. When you have a big head, you have a large helmet. You can fit more accessories on it. So if you're like a gear queer and you like putting all types of shit on your helmet, then it's for you. We did have the rail system, if I remember correctly, on those airframe helmets. So you were able to attach your O2 mask through your halo, for your halo jumps, or your high altitude jumps, either on the rails, or there was a little head harness that we wore underneath it if you didn't have the rails. I don't have the O2 mask here to show you that, but there are attachments that attach to these rails for an oxygen mask if you're jumping at high altitudes and you require O2, an O2 bottle to breathe off of. Also, I had the same night vision mount on my Cry helmet, that plastic piece of garbage, which I broke several times. One was in a really hard little bird landing when I was yard sailed all over the target. I went flying. You got one?
Yeah, I sure do.
All right, so this is an O2 mask with the head cap, the little fasteners on the side. That's kind of what I ran with. But they also have attachments now for these on the rail system. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get to the bare bones assaulter helmet setup. I'm going to go with this one because it's probably the closest to what I had. Obviously, you got your Wilcox mount on there. You also have the little retention lanyard. I didn't have that. We used to use little bungee cords with hooks to keep retention for our nods should the mount break or you yard sail, like I said I did before. I ran some type of infrared strobe light to visually identify myself either to aircraft or other ground forces to avoid fratricide. They also have colors in them now, right? This one does, I think, green. I had a call sign patch, usually. Almost always had an American flag, right? The good old red, white, and blue. Maybe it was subdued like this, brown and tan. I had some type of visual LED light. There's different, Surefire makes helmet mount, side mounts, lights. I tried those. Those suck because they're really easy to accidentally activate. The ones I had, the first gen ones, I think they updated that and made them a special dual switch or something like that to turn them on. This is the current light that guys are using in their rails. A little push button activated. It's a flex arm. It's pretty cool, and I don't think that's really easy to accidentally depress, you know, by accident. I have an external battery pack. I'm either running 31 alphas white phosphorus for nods, or I'm running a fusion goggle. Can you grab the night vision cases and bring those over, sir? Thank you. All right, let's talk about night vision goggles, because you can't fight at night without them. So what I have here are some PVS 15s, which I actually like these a lot. These are probably one of my favorite night vision devices. These don't have the external battery or plug-in, so you have to run a single 1, 2, 3 battery in there to turn them on. But basically, that's your night vision setup. You can drop your nods when you need them, or you can kind of offset when you wear the helmet. If you don't need them all the time, say you're in a house that has dark rooms, that has light rooms, and you only need it sometimes, you kind of cock your helmet up a little, so when you're clearing and searching a building, a lighted room, you don't need the night vision, you just wear it like this. If you need nods, you just drop your head, right? And that's kind of how guys are running stuff nowadays. The 31s, however, have the tubes that individually articulate up and down, so you can run one, you can fold them up, you can fold them halfway down to do the little head dip thing. They're super convenient. I talked about the fusion goggle, which is kind of something I like running because I like that thermal capability. It's a combination of infrared with thermal. And these are heavy. So I know a lot of guys are running the counterweights or counterbalance weights, and they have these things set up for different weights, and some of them are labeled for whatever night vision device. It says right here PVS 15, PVS 14, so they kind of make the same as the weight of the nods or the night vision device with batteries. So those are to counterbalance so you don't get the sword super stiff neck. I ran a battery pack and that was good enough for me, but we didn't have, you know, cool shit like that. To me, ounces equal pounds, and it just makes your total kit much more heavier. But your neck might feel better. I don't know, I never used them. These have the rail-mounted Peltors, which are kind of cool, because if I need to be on comms or don't need to be on comms, I can move these in and out as I need them, or I can have one down and one up. Kind of like so. And I can compress them for hearing protection. They snap tight to my head. So now I can turn on the noise cancellation and activation so I can hear external voices and talking, but it blocks out all the harsh sounds, the high decibel levels, explosions, and gunfire. If I want to pop one open so I can hear conversations, I'm talking to Pete or whatever, I can do that while still monitoring the comms, the radio transmissions. Or if I don't want them and they're in the way, I just fold them up out of the way. Just like so. Pretty cool. Now, disadvantage of these. There's times on target when I'm post-assault and I didn't need to wear a helmet because my neck was sore or whatever. I was tired of wearing a helmet. And I was having conversations with either detainees or locals or whatever, and I didn't need a helmet on. But I can't listen to comms if I don't have my helmet on. So I never ran these. I tried them for a little while, and a lot of times these wires, you gotta bend them and flex them to get them to seal just right for the hearing protection. For me, it was always one side was a little off, so gunfire was extremely loud and used to make me go deaf. So I could never get them fitted right. And I couldn't take my helmet off and not listen to comms. So that's why I just ran normal Peltors. I take my helmet off, set it down, and I could still maintain or monitor communications. Kind of shooter's preference, shooter's choice on that. All right, so we talked about night vision mounts. There's two different night vision mounts here. One helmet has a permanently fixed Wilcox mount. The other one is the modular one. It's also a breakaway one. So if I don't need it, if I don't need to wear night vision, I can disconnect this thing and put it away, stow it somewhere, and that way my helmet's a little more low profile, which is kind of nice sometimes, because that thing will catch, if you're in tight confined space, tight quarters, it'll catch stuff. All right. Accessories on these helmets, other than the battery pack, which we talked about. We talked about an IR strobe, some type of visual marker for friendly forces and aircraft overhead to identify friendlies. Also a visible light. We talked about some type of a white light or LED light. So if I'm searching, we're post-assault and I'm looking through for more detail, looking for documents, SIMS chips, micro SD cards, what have you, I might need some white light to help me illuminate the area. Here's another variation that I would run. I mounted a Picatinny rail where the rail mount holes would be for the bolts. So basically it's just a Picatinny rail with either a Surefire light or some type of Picatinny mount rail on there. And you can have this one has dual IR or visible. I can switch back and forth if I need kind of a spotlight. And they all have the modular pads on the inside that you can move around or customize. You can add thicker pads, thinner pads, whatever. These things are so customizable nowadays, it blows your mind. And I talked about the strobes. That's a really cool strobe that Pete loaned me. Unfortunately, I have to give it back, but it's super sexy and really cool. Probably very expensive too. What's that cost, Pete?
It's a Hellstar. They're in the hundreds of dollars.
Hellstar, hundreds of dollars. Helmet covers. Sometimes we don't use helmet covers. Sometimes we use Krylon and paint it just like we do with our guns. But now you have helmet covers, which are nice because they do a couple things. They add attachment points for some of your devices. Also for camouflage, if you're running like burlap or some type of ghillie cloth to break up the outline, that's an option I used to run on one of my helmets. You can also, you have Velcro, you can attach battery packs, your strobe lights, your flashlights, all that stuff. And there's also little retention straps that fold on the Velcro on the inside of the helmet. And they pull over really nice and snug, and once they set there, they usually don't move unless your helmet Velcro starts peeling off. Every once in a while you could add some shoe glue or something like that, some adhesive to keep that stuff on there. So depending on if I was doing a helicopter infill or maybe riding on a vehicle or walking in, would determine what eye protection I ran with. But I always had a set of Clear Eye Pro, whether it was Oakley, Harbor Freight Tools, Wiley X, one of those companies that make super expensive things. I always wore some type of Clear Eye Pro later. If I was flying on a helicopter, I ran some type of goggle. So the way I would do that is I had Velcro, that cover won't let me do it. Yeah, I guess I can. No, let's just do it backwards. So when I didn't need my goggles, I'd wear my goggles like this for the helicopter ride on the side of the Little Bird or whatever. Then as soon as I land and I got a moment, I would take them off, I'd strap them down. I usually do it reverse like this. I'd have the goggles in the back, but this helmet cover doesn't have Velcro to do it, but I would set them in the back like this so they're kind of out of the way. And then I would just run regular Clear Eye Pro, eyeglass style Clear Eye Pro. And that's kind of how I ran my setup. And they're always there if you need them. Because the reason I did this and I didn't clear buildings with these on, because they fog up. And yeah, they make ones with fans in them and all that stuff. Those things break or they fall apart. I break shit. I break shit really well. That's probably one of my talents. So all those fan goggles, I think these were fan goggles because they got the little vent in them. Yeah, that shit didn't last long. So that is helmet setup in a nutshell. Hopefully that was informative, thought-provoking, and answered some questions. If it didn't, hit me up with some questions, either DM or in the comments below. Thank you, guys. Cheers.